And good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Blind Press YouTube channel and Coffee Stream episode 415. And today we've got some interesting stuff to talk about. We've got a couple of articles dealing with the continuing fallout over the residential school crisis, and we've got some other employment-related news due to the pandemic. We've got a couple of Pierre Poilievre videos to watch. It's going to be a good stream. I hope everybody had a great weekend and had a nice time doing whatever you may have been doing. It is really, really hot here. It went from super cold for most of May to really, really hot. And you know what? I don't care, because I would much rather be hot than cold. So yeah, it's nice sitting here in the central air conditioning. Hey, Lord Famine, how are you today, sir? I hope you're doing well. I'm sitting here chilling in the central air in my basement. I went out for a orientation and mobility lesson, and it was freaking hot. Holy shit. But it's still better than winter. So, yeah. Yeah, that's what the AC is for. Exactly. So yeah, we've got lots of stuff to cover. So let's get right into it, shall we? Let's open up a new tab here. Okay. Okay. So, I've also, I'm really happy with how the Twitch channel is coming along. It's doing really well already. I'm up to 10 subscribers and 82 followers, which is fucking awesome. And I've was coming up with some custom rewards for bits and stuff last night. So I've made... Oh, you got to play some D&D? That's awesome, Lord Famine. That's awesome. Hey, Spittlebuggies. Hey, Maniac Man. Let's see. Hey, Duck Dog. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me. So let's jump right into these articles, and then we'll save the Poilievre videos for later, because I have one, and Pincolo sent me one too. But we're also going to take a look at, there's an article dealing with what the Pope said about the residential schools. But we're going to take a look at something completely unrelated first. I don't know if anyone has heard about this yet, but we're going to take a look at it here. Let's get back to StreamYard and share. But yeah, I've set up there's a thing for 666 bits. I did that on purpose. Where if you click that thing, I will be forced to unplug my headphones and just use the TV to hear where my to get my sound cues. So I won't have the advantage of the headphones directly on my ears to hear where everything is. So I'll have to just listen with the TV. So that'll be a fun, and that's for 6 minutes. So basically a full set of me trying to play a 3D audio game on the TV without headphones. Hi, Ryan. Let's see. Let's see here. So, headline. Oh, headline. Where art thou, headline? Wherefore art thou, headline? Therefore art thou, headline. Japan Olympic official dies after jumping in front of train, reports say. That's generally what happens after one jumps in front of a train. This is published today, and it's from Reuters. So let's take a listen. Stop talking. Voiceover. Jesus. Okay, here we go.
Tokyo. Police said they are investigating a deadly incident on the city's subway, which media reports said involved a senior official at the Japanese Olympic Committee.
Wow. So it's a subway train, and I guess this person leapt in front of the train? Hello, W.R. Costin. Glad to see you here.
Private broadcaster Nippon Television, citing Metropolitan Police sources, identified the person as the Japanese Olympic Committee's head of accounting and said his death was being treated as a suspected suicide. You are currently...
Oh shit, it's the accounting committee guy. That's... wow.
Heading level 2. Distraught scale. Advertisement. Empty. The 52-year-old man was hit by the Toei Osaka Line subway train at Nakanobu Station at around 9:20 a.m., Kyoto News reported. You are link. Sources said. In the Kyoto News report that a station employee saw the man jump onto the tracks from the platform. Chrome has new
That's really sad. Hello, TOS. Hello, Jim Beam. Was there honor involved? Who knows? Who knows? I smell shenanigans. Maybe. Bushido code is harsh. Yep.
The police are investigating, said a police spokesperson, who did not elaborate. A JOC representative said the committee was collecting information, but did not give further details. You are currently...
Yeah, well, you're gonna be pretty tight-lipped about that until you figure out what's going on. But that's really sad. If he jumped in front of the train, like, suicide is, yeah, it's sad.
News of the incident was one of the top trending topics on Twitter in Japan. Already postponed a year due to the coronavirus pandemic, the Tokyo Games is scheduled to begin on July 23rd in the face of public concerns that authorities can hold the event and keep the Japanese public safe from the spread of COVID-19. You are currently on a text... Story continues below.
Is it really supposed to start this July? I didn't realize that. Huh. I don't really watch the Summer Olympics. Mostly because Canada... there's not... We don't do well in the Summer Olympics. Let's just be frank here. We don't do very well in the Summer Olympics. But the Winter Olympics, I love watching. I love watching the Winter Olympics. Accidentally jumped? No, there's a lot of suicide in Japan, and I'm not entirely sure why that is, but there seems to be a lot of suicide. The first Olympics televised by Skype.
Despite most people opposing holding the games during the COVID-19 pandemic, half of the Japanese public think the 2020 Olympics will take place this summer, a survey by the Yomiuri Daily newspaper showed on Monday. Opposition lawmakers grilled Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga and cabinet ministers in parliament on Monday over the decision to press ahead with the event after several polls showed the public was not in favor. Top government officials repeatedly said that the government would continue to work on coronavirus measures for a safe and secure games, and that a decision on domestic spectators would be made this month.
Could this suicide have something to do with a decision that came down that the accountant knew about? I wonder what's going on here. Interesting.
Taking infection control measures for athletes and games officials so athletes from the world can safely participate and to protect our people's lives and health. I think that is the premise of holding the Olympics, Suga told lawmakers. Foreign spectators are already prohibited from the Olympics, and Japanese may also be kept away from what organizers promise will be a sanitized bubble event to minimize contagion risk.
A sanitized bubble event. That's something I want to attend. A sanitized bubble event. Why am I picturing a room filled with hamster balls for humans, just rolling back and forth, playing bumper cars with each other, just boing, boing, boing. Everybody's got a freaking handheld inside the bubble so they can talk to each other. Hello, Mr. Goatman. Stress due to these measures? Maybe. Maybe.
In a Yomiuri survey conducted from June 4th 6, 50% of respondents said the games would happen this summer. 26% said they would take place without spectators. Some 48% said the event would be cancelled. But most of the respondents in the same poll said virus measures for athletes and participants were inadequate, while public support for the Suga administration hit its lowest level, at 37%.
Oh, wow.
You are currently... Link.
That's interesting.
Link. View on National Post. List 4 items.
So that's the end of that article. So yeah, I wonder why this man took his life. That could be a fun time, yeah. I'm just literally picturing these like giant human-sized hamster balls just bouncing off of each other. Just oh, Jesus. I have a vivid imagination. Okay, let's see here. All right. Next article. So, some good things, I guess, are coming out of the Discovery and Kamloops. Because as we are about to read in this story, the maritime provinces seem to be taking a proactive approach to discovering if there's anything going on in their area. So let's take a look at this article so that we can see what they are planning. Hamsters are evil and therefore don't deserve those balls. Let's see. Share. Okay. So here we go. This article is headlined Come on. Where's the headline? There it is. Kamloops discoveries inspires new Kamloops discovery inspires new effort on East Coast. Site of the Maritime's only residential school will be searched for remains. So this is from the from Friday, June 4th. And it says there's a warning. There's a warning up here at the top that you can see. So let's take a look here.
The Sunday after members of the Sipeknekitic First Nation in Nova Scotia learned that the remains of 215 Indigenous children had been discovered in Kamloops, BC, they held a memorial ceremony. The event took place 10 minutes down the road from the East Coast First Nation, near the residential school site that still casts a pall over the community. On Monday, Chief Mike Sack's phone started ringing. On the line, again and again, were members of his community, some survivors of the former Shubenacadie residential school in Nova Scotia, urging him to arrange for a comprehensive search for possible burial sites around that site. You are currently on a tech. On Friday, the band announced it would do exactly that.
Good.
I think there's anxiety for a lot of people, and I think a lot of fear for members of our community that have to relive this type of thing. Most of them have been battling with this trauma their whole life, Sack told the Star. The Shubenacadie facility, the only residential school in the Maritimes, operated from 1930 until its closure in 1967. It was demolished in 1986. More than one.
Oops. So opened in
Shubenacadie facility,
1930.
the only residential school in the Maritimes, operated from 1930 until its closure in 1967. It was demolished in 1986. More than 1,000 children are estimated to have been placed in the school over its lifespan.
Wow.
Heading level 2.
1,000 kids over 37 years. That's crazy.
Link. Heading level 3. Winnipeg first fully vaccinated. Link. Heading level 3. A federal inquiry was held in 1934, examining the flogging of 19 boys at Shubenacadie, which left the boys with permanent scars. The judge heading the inquiry at the time said the boys got what they deserved.
Jesus Christ.
This has been top of mind for Sipeknekitic for many years, and the tragic discovery in Kamloops brings a renewed sense of urgency to our work, said Sack in a public statement Friday. One of the phone calls he received in the wake of the Kamloops discovery came from Grand Captain Ron Knockwood, who represents the Sipeknekitic district on the Mi'kmaq Grand Council. Knockwood had previously worked with Roger Lewis, the Mi'kmaq Cultural Heritage Curator for the Nova Scotia Museum, and with Dr. Jonathan Fowler of St. Mary's University's Anthropology Department, one of the country's leading researchers in archaeological geophysics and remote sensing.
Oh, that would be a very good resource to take advantage of if they could get it. If they could get the help of that institution to help do some searching with ground penetrating radar.
Heading level 2. Link. Heading level 3. Link. Heading. Chrome has new window. Once Knockwood had put them in touch, the Sipeknekitic enlisted the two men to help conduct the new search. An aerial photograph shows the Shubenacadie residential school in 1954. The school was closed in 1967, and the building demolished in 1986. Image.
So this is the picture of
Show
the
caption,
school
button.
system.
An aerial photograph. Show caption. Button. Among other techniques, Fowler will be examining the area with ground-penetrating radar, GPR, similar to the technique used to uncover the burial sites in Kamloops. He'll also be flying a drone overhead, looking for abnormalities in the landscape.
Okay, that's good. So they're going to be using more than one technique to do some searching here.
Fowler's GPR research has successfully mapped burials associated with 1,873 sinking of the SS Atlantic and has also identified nearly 300 unmarked graves in the pre-deportation Acadian Cemetery at Gran. PR Acute National Historic Site of Canada in Nova Scotia. The search picks up from a previous investigation of the area by the Tripartite Forum's Indian Residential School Subcommittee, which earlier searched portions of the residential school grounds, also with GPR, with no results. The search picks up from a previous investigation of the area by the Tripartite Forum's Indian Residential School Subcommittee, which earlier searched portions of the residential school grounds, also with GPR, with no results. The Tripartite Forum is a partnership between Nova Scotia Mi'kmaq and provincial and federal governments.
Okay.
Heading level 2. Related stories.
So that, let's see if there's any more.
Link. Heading. Chrome has new window. You are currently on a tech. Link.
Is there any more here?
Members of the band that were survivors of the residential school don't talk much about it, Sack said, and, mostly, others don't bring up the subject unless prompted. But the discovery of the remains in Kamloops have forced some members to revisit those painful memories. Heading level 3. Don't miss the latest from the...
So yeah, that is that story, and I'm glad that... I really hope that they're able to do a search, and I do hope that there's nothing found. I'm not going to be surprised if there is something found, but I genuinely hope that nothing is found, of course. I'm glad that this is and I'm hoping that there's going to be other pushes in other provinces to search the sites, because this is honestly what we have to do. Oh, they are. This is an American and Canadian problem. The 60s scoop happened in the States too. Um it's bad. This is not just a Canadian or just an American problem. It's happening in both countries. So here now we have our next story. There's three stories that we're going to be looking at here. Okay. Let's go to the StreamYard. Oh, come on. There's StreamYard. Okay. Alrighty. Do. Why does it always take me back to the very top of the page? I don't like that. Alright. So, here we go. Trudeau's acknowledgement of Indigenous genocide could have legal impacts, say experts. No kidding. So this is from the Canadian Press, and it's from Saturday, the 5th of June. All right, here we go. Let's take a listen.
Ottawa, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's acceptance of an inquiry's finding that Canada committed genocide against Indigenous people could have tremendous legal impact if a court ever weighs Ottawa's responsibility for crimes against humanity, experts say. Amid growing outrage and grief over an unmarked burial site at a residential school in British Columbia, Trudeau reiterated this week that he accepts the conclusion of the 2019 inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women that what happened amounts to genocide. To truly heal these wounds, we must first acknowledge the truth, not only about residential schools, but about so many injustices both past and present that Indigenous peoples face, he said Thursday.
And guess what? You're responsible for some of those injustices, and your daddy was responsible for a lot more. So what are you going to do about it, sir?
Bruno Gellinis-Fletcher, a University of Montreal law professor, said that if a court was determining whether Canada committed genocide, it would assess whether the acts in question amount to genocide under international law and consider whether the country is responsible for those acts. The Missing and Murdered Women's Inquiry concluded in its 1,200-page report that Canada deliberately and systematically violated racial, gender, human, and Indigenous rights. You are currently on a free screen frame. Gellinis-Fletcher said the report attributed the actions of genocide to Ottawa because they were committed by the government or through its guidance or instructions.
Yeah.
A court could say, under current rules of international law, that the state has accepted responsibility under international law for the crime of genocide, he said.
Yeah. Yeah, that very well could be. Well, let's see. Hey, Parody Bear. Costin says, well, duh. I hope he has a plan to properly deal with the consequences of what happened at those residential schools. Me too. Justin Castro. In reality, though, he's just virtue signaling. Yep. Yes, he is.
That's a big deal. You are currently on a text element.
He acknowledged there's a problem. What do you want from the man? I want him to do more than just acknowledge. I want him to actually have his government make policies that matter and fix things.
Heading level 2. You might be interested in. Link. The news of the unmarked Chrome has new window.
Oops.
Link. Heading. Link. Heading level. The news of the unmarked burial site, believed to contain the remains of 215 children, in Kamloops, BC, has raised questions about whether Canada could face new legal consequences. either for the individual case or for the widespread abuse and deaths in residential schools.
Yeah. And those questions are valid.
The RCMP said this week it has opened a file into the unmarked graves of the Kamloops residential school, but that the Kamloops Taysek led investigators. As for a broader criminal case, genocide and crimes against humanity are legal in the Canadian system, but a case would need to be initiated by public prosecutors. You are correct. The International Criminal Court in The Hague, Netherlands, can examine cases referred by the United Nations Security Council or the state itself, or if the court prosecutor launches an investigation.
Yep.
A group of Calgary-based lawyers has formally asked the International Court to appoint a special prosecutor to investigate the Canadian government and the Vatican for the findings in Kamloops. You are
Yes,
on a
I
text
read
element.
a story about that last Monday, I believe. Let's see. Sins of the Father, yep. Joking, of course, yeah. I know you are. Let's see. They just want to steal more money because they've blown all the billions they've taken. Let's see.
But there are many thresholds that must be met before the court prosecutor launches an investigation, said Jelinas Fletcher. The court only prosecutes the most heinous, the most grievous crimes. It won't prosecute low-level officials, he said. The court goes only after the big fish. You are currently on a
That's very true. That's very, very true. They do not care about low-level grunts.
Trudeau's reiteration that Canada committed genocide comes after Germany officially admitted last week that the 1904 mass killings of the Herero people, who rebelled against German colonial rule in Namibia, were a genocide. New York, heading level 2. You might be interested. Link, heading. Germany's admission king with a promise. Chrome has new window. Link. Germany's admission king with a promise of about $1.6 billion in development aid to the Southwest African country.
Wow. $1.6 billion dollars into the Namibian economy. Okay.
Guelph University political science professor David MacDonald said Germany has long been an exception in acknowledging its historical genocides, as governments rarely recognize their own countries have committed mass murder. However, the Kaiser political regime committed the genocide in Namibia and the Nazi regime committed the Holocaust, which makes it easier for the current democratic regime in Germany to acknowledge these crimes, MacDonald said.
Yeah.
You are currently on a text.
That's true.
Heading level 3. Get the link. If Canada admits to genocide, it's not just admitting that some earlier and completely different government committed genocide, he pointed out. Chrome has new window.
That's very true. Because it will have been all governments over the years, no matter whether they be conservative, whether they be liberal, it's all governments from Confederation onwards that are responsible, including this government, and Trudeau will have to take the brunt of that.
Here you've got a liberal government and a conservative opposition. And the whole time of the residential schools, you had liberal governments and conservative oppositions, or conservative governments and liberal oppositions, he said.
Yep.
The Canadian government would be admitting that the genocide occurred by the hands of institutions that still function more or less now as they did before, MacDonald said.
That's very true. That's very true, and that's a very uncomfortable spot to be in. It's an extremely uncomfortable spot to be in.
The earlier versions of their parties, the earlier versions of their parliament, the earlier versions of the RCMP, the earlier versions of the Department of Indian Affairs, committed genocide. You are correct. The attitudes have changed and all the personnel are different, but there's institutional continuity in Canada, which doesn't happen in Germany.
That's true.
On Thursday, the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations, which represents 74 First Nations in Saskatchewan, welcomed Trudeau's acknowledgement that Canada committed genocide. Our leaders have been calling out this genocide for decades, and it is about time that their efforts are acknowledged and the Prime Minister admits what happened to our people was nothing short of genocide, said FSIN Chief Bobby Cameron in a statement. There is a long road of healing that will come, and acknowledging the genocide our people faced is a start. Holistic and wellness services must now become essential and immediately begin in every First Nations community across Canada.
Not just that. It can't just be wellness services. It has to be concrete action. Like, you need clean water needs to be established. opportunities for employment and education and ways to make people self-sufficient again. That needs to happen.
The Indian Residential Schools Resolution Health Support Program has a hotline to help residential school survivors and their relatives suffering with trauma invoked by the recall of past abuse. The number is 1-866-925-4419. This report by the Canadian Press was first published June 5th, 2021.
Okay, so that is that story. But yeah, Trudeau needs to... I think he's admitting that this is a genocide, not for him. I think he's doing this as a virtue signal because I think he thinks that he can shove some low-level grunt under the bus to take the brunt of this, like he does with all of his other scandals. But what he doesn't... if like... You've got these... What the hell was I saying? I just completely blanked. God damn it. I hate when that happens. Okay, Functional says, sorry, I'm just at my don't give a fucks gauge because of these assholes in BLM and these protesters burning and destroying parts of the city. You see, those are mostly stupid, guilty white people. And they don't understand that those actions are not going to help anybody. They're just not. It doesn't matter. They're not going to help. Destroying things is not going to provide proper living conditions. It's not going to provide clean water. It's not going to provide employment opportunities, education opportunities, self-sufficiency. It's not going to do any of that. But these guilty white people don't care. They would rather virtue signal and destroy things and say they're doing it on behalf of the poor indigenous man, which is just as infantilizing and racist as ever. Okay. So here we go. We are going to take a look at this link here now. All right. StreamYard, there you are. Let's just not talk about that stuff on Wednesday. I don't want to say stuff on that. Let's see. Nope. I'm calling that out. I've had friends of 20 plus years call me racist. Oh, great. No, I'll find something different for us to talk about on Wednesday. Don't worry, Functional. I know what you mean. Okay. Share. God, I can't wait for that pool to be ready. The Pincalo and the boys set up the pool, but it needs to be shocked. And we need a new pump. So we can't go in it yet. Let's see here. Headline. This is the last article on this stuff, and then we'll move on. So the Pope calls for reconciliation and healing over Kamloops School. So the Pope in some tweets also called the Indigenous people the sons and daughters of Canada, which, when you look at the paternalistic way the government has, there's plenty to talk about too. Oh, there definitely is. Let's see here. Come on, Chrome. Don't be a dick. But the Pope, in some tweets, he called the Indigenous people of Canada the sons and daughters of Canada, which is, really an unfortunate way to word that, considering the very paternalistic view that the governments of Canada have taken over the Indigenous people. It's just, oh, Mr. Pope, you really shouldn't be saying that. Let's see here. Where are we? So this is from Reuters, and it was posted on June 6th. And there's apparently a video, but it may have an ad, so we're not going to watch it. So let's take a listen.
Group. Pope Francis said on Sunday that he was pained by the preliminary findings of the remains of an estimated 215 children at a former residential school in Kamloops, BC, and urged Canadian political and Catholic religious leaders to seek reconciliation and healing. 3:25. Warning, currently on a text element. Horizontal splitter. Pope Francis said on Sunday that he was pained by the discovery of the remains of an estimated 215 children in the grounds of a former residential school that was operated by the Catholic Church in Kamloops, BC, and called for respect of the rights and culture of Indigenous people. He urged Canadian political and Catholic religious leaders to cooperate with determination to shed light on this sad affair and to seek reconciliation and healing. Francis said he felt close to the Canadian people, who have been traumatized by the shocking news.
You felt close to the Canadian people, did you? You want the Canadian Catholic and political leaders to reconcile, but you won't make an official apology because it was your church that was doing this. Hey Pope, hey Pope, fix your house with all the pedos, and fuck you for apologizing for the Crusades. If the Vatican really wants to clear this shit up, they need to open the records up for reading. Exactly, Pincolo. Yeah, fuck the Pope, says Functional. Let's see here.
Advertisement. Speaking to pilgrims and tourists in St. Peter's Square, he stopped short, however, of the direct apology that many Canadians had demanded from the Catholic Church for its role in the residential schools, which operated between 1831 and 1996 and were run by a number of Christian denominations on behalf of the government.
Yeah, and even the Truth and Reconciliation Commission has said that the Vatican needs to apologize.
Heading Level 2. Move. The pontiff's comments spoke of healing but not of apology. The sad discovery further raises awareness of the pains and sufferings of the past. May the political and religious authorities of Canada continue to collaborate with determination to shed light on that sad story and humbly commit themselves to a path of reconciliation and healing, the Pope said. You are currently...
Wow. Way to separate yourself from that.
These difficult moments represent a strong appeal for all of us to move away from the colonizing model and also from the ideological colonization of today, and walk side by side in dialogue, in mutual respect and in the recognition of the rights and cultural values of all daughters and sons of Canada. You are...
Yeah, all daughters and sons of Canada. Hello, Trucking with the Tablet. That is a good point, Functional. But yeah, this is like the sons and daughters of Canada. Wow.
Twitter. Group. Frame 3. End of. Chief Rose and Casimir of the Kamloops Taysacway First Nation in British Columbia announced on May 27th the discovery of what it believes to be the remains of. Link. An estimated 215 children buried. Chrome has new on the grounds of the former Kamloops Indian Residential School. The finding has reopened old wounds and is fueling outrage in Canada about the lack of information and accountability. Advertisement. The school was operated by the Catholic Church from 1890 to 1969. Church officials have so far resisted making public the records related to the school.
No, 1978, 1969.
More than 150,000 First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children were forced to attend church-run, government-funded schools between the 1870s and 1997. Many were subjected to abuse, sexual assault, and malnutrition in what the Truth and Reconciliation Commission in 2015 called cultural genocide. York?
Yeah. I'm just splitting hairs.
Pope Francis spoke 2 days after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said the Catholic Church must take responsibility for its role in running many of the schools.
Yeah, it should.
The Pope made no reference to Trudeau's insistence that the Vatican apologize and take responsibility. List one item. Chrome has new end of list. List one item. Bullet. Link. End of list. Casimir has said her First Nation wants a public apology from the Catholic Church. The Missionary Oblates of Mary Immaculate, which ran nearly half of Canada's residential schools, has yet to release any records about the Kamloops school, she said. You are currently...
Yeah, this is very mostly a Catholic-run establishment. Let's see. Wasn't on this too for the Indian Affairs. Chrétien, yeah. Yeah, Chrétien, yeah, he was too.
Advertisement. On Wednesday, Vancouver Archbishop Michael Miller tweeted his deep apology and profound condolences to the families and communities that have been devastated by this horrific news. Miller added that the church was unquestionably wrong in implementing a government colonialist policy which resulted in devastation for children, families, and communities. Chrome has new window. List, bullet, link, end of list. The United, Presbyterian, and Anglican churches have apologized for their roles in the abuse, as has the Canadian government, which has offered compensation. You are currently on it.
Has it really now? Has it really, article? You call taking the survivors of residential schools to court compensation, do you?
Among the many recommendations of a government-established Truth and Reconciliation Commission was a papal apology. In 2009, then Pope Benedict XVI met with former students and survivors and told them of his personal anguish over their suffering, but his words weren't described as an apology. You are currently horizontal splitter. Support is available for anyone affected by their experience at residential schools and those who are triggered by the latest reports. A national Indian residential school crisis line has been set up to provide support for former students and those affected.
And that's the same, yeah. It's the same thing as in the other article. So yeah, that's all of the residential school stuff I have today. So, yeah. Let's move on to a game article. We're gonna read this article about Injustice 2 Mobile. This is an IGN article. So let's just quickly go and share this article here. Uh-oh. Why am I roboting? I just heard roboting in the playback. Okay, it's fine now. All right. Here we go. So, here we go. Let's take a look here. Where's the stupid headline? Come on! There it is. Okay. Injustice 2 Mobile apologizes for inappropriate Pride Month event. All right then. What is an inappropriate Pride Month event, I wonder? So this is an IGN article, as I said already. Does anyone know how the IGN discussion went between management and staff over not doing politics and focusing only on games? Let's see. Let's see. All right, here we go. Let's listen in.
The link Injustice 2 mobile game Twitter account has issued an link apology to fans after an in-game event to celebrate Pride Month involved beating up an LGBTQ plus character.
Oh God, first of all, which character are they claiming to be LGBTQ plus? And second of all, that's just fucking hilarious. Okay.
The event involved repeatedly fighting Poison Ivy, a well-known bisexual character and iconic villain stemming from DC's Batman universe. Reported by...
I didn't know she was well-known bisexual. I thought they just made her bisexual very recently.
Link, Kotaku. The irony of this global challenge event was magnified by a tweet celebrating that players had. You are currently on a link. To click this link, the link taken down. Poison Ivy over 175,000 times, followed by a Pride hashtag. Apparently, if players fought her another 225,000 times, they would unlock a separate reward tier. You are correct.
Oh. Because she kisses girls, generally to poison them. Yeah. Yep, to appease the gares. Yep.
Twitter tweet. Twitter embed. Frey. End of. Twitter tweet. Have you read Injustice 2? Loading. Have you read Injustice 2? Group. Tell me. Yes? Yes? No. End of. End of. An approach like this suggested that the developers of Injustice 2 Mobile were encouraging violence against LGBTQ plus people during Pride. And before too long, the tweet was flooded with responses from concerned players who were confused as to how this global challenge was in any way a celebration of Pride.
Yeah, that is a little bit, like, as somebody who knows that Poison Ivy isn't originally bisexual, but still, if that's not really a good way to celebrate Pride. I don't think you like. I'm somebody who doesn't really feel pride in their sexuality, but that's just funny. I can't. I know this is weird by today's standards, but who cares which way Poison Ivy swings, right? I love how the screen reader says the alphabet acronym. Yeah, LUG plus. Yeah.
The tweet was quickly taken down following the initial backlash, and the Injustice 2 Mobile Twitter has since released a statement apologizing for the global challenge and inciting tweet, stating that they recognize associating our latest global challenge with Pride was insensitive and inappropriate, and that we should all actively engage in efforts to end LGBTQ plus violence, not normalize it.
That's funny.
Tell me what.
That is really funny. Oh man, that's just too funny.
Link 5 autoplay setting. Changing banners and avatars in order to appear supportive of. Despite regularly creating these in-game global challenges, scheduling an event to beat up in LGBTQ Plus character during Pride Month really doesn't seem like a good way to celebrate LGBTQ Plus rights. The Injustice 2 mobile Twitter account had also changed its banner and avatar to feature the Pride flag for Pride Month, which made the irony of this event even more appalling. You are currently changing banners and avatars in order to appear supportive of LGBT plus rights, only to continue activities that harm LGBT plus people is a classic example of pinkwashing. A term used when companies attempt to cash in on the focus on Pride and then drop any meaningful support for LGBTQ plus people as soon as Pride Month is over. You are currently on.
What washing? Let's reread that.
Changing banners and avatars in order to appear supportive of LGBT plus rights, only to continue activities that harm LGBT plus people is a classic example of pinkwashing.
Bink washing?
And avatars. Activities that harm a class of pink.
Pink
You are
washing.
currently on.
Pink washing. Done. Done. Fucking done. Fuck off. Done. Pink washing. Get fucked. Oh my god. Pink washing. Rendering sounds like a way better term to use. Pink washing. Great googly moogly. That's just ridiculous. Oh my lord. Good lord, IGN. Brandering. Oh. It came out as rendering the first time. Yeah, I still like brandering. Who was it that did was that you or Drunkle that first came up with that, honey? Total brandering, yep. Okay, so we're gonna move on to our first video. We're gonna finish off the stream with these videos. I think it was Drunkle, yeah. Okay, so this is a minute and 57 seconds, and then the other video I have is a bit longer. Okay. Let's... Wow. The IGN meeting was May 30th. It was my understanding that IGN is planning to fire the staff because they want to sell if they can find a buyer. Wow. I did not know that. That's crazy. All right. Here we go. So this is called "We Must Move from Credit Cards to Paychecks," which is very true. So here we go.
Carlton.
Well, the member blames these disastrous job numbers on provincial health restrictions, restrictions that this Prime Minister made necessary by his COVID response failures. He failed on vaccines, failed to close the borders to COVID hotspots, and now we've lost another 68,000 jobs, the second consecutive month of catastrophic job loss, while the Americans added 500,000 new jobs. We now have the second highest unemployment in the G7, even though all those other countries have COVID too. The difference is they have COVID, we have a Liberal government. Canadians are losing their jobs.
Secretary.
This is from June 4th's question period, I believe. I was watching this on Saturday. So this is great. There's a 6-minute video that we're gonna watch. Yeah, but like 60% of those jobs in America are government jobs. Yeah, that's true.
Madam Speaker, the honourable member criticizes the government's public health response. I would remind him that Canada recently became the highest ranked country of any G20 nation in terms of the number of people who've gotten the first dose of their vaccine. If he'd like to compare us to the Americans, I would point him to the fact that we've now had 80.9% of the jobs recovered compared to 65.9% in the United States. Our labour force participation is higher in Canada and the United States. The reality is the Canadian economy is on stable footing, as reaffirmed recently by the credit rating agencies across the world. We are on stable footing. We will see these jobs come back.
The honourable member for Carlton.
He cites jobs recovered. Well, we had so much more unemployment in this country and so many more people who needed to recover their jobs because this government's failure had driven unemployment so much higher than our competitors. In fact, we have higher unemployment than the US, the UK, Japan, Germany, France. Only socialist Italy, which this government is trying to replicate, has worse unemployment than Canada. And as for doses, other countries are onto their second dose, while we only have single digits who have had that.
Exactly. This is not like, we are the highest number of people with their first dose in Canada. Really? The voice of reason. Yep. So that's the first Poilievre video, and then the second one is from, I think he did a stream on CPAC about the unemployment numbers, and there's a 6-minute clip from that we're gonna take a look at. But yeah, it's like, we have the highest number of people with their first dose. Yeah, well, guess what? Other countries are moving on to giving their second doses. So, like, who cares about that? All right. Where are we here? So, yeah, 68,000 jobs lost for Canada last month, while Americans gained half a million jobs. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Pause, damn you. Pause. Thank you. Okay. Let's go and share this. So yeah, this is he did a live stream on CPAC, I believe on Thursday. Or Friday. And this is a 6-minute clip from that stream. So we're going to take a listen to that. If I can get to the share button. There we go. There's the share button. Alrighty. Here we go. A friend of mine has cancer and heart problems and is still waiting for his first dose. Jesus fucking Christ. Other countries are opening up. Yup. Catch me outside. How about that? Meanwhile, stupid people are dosing their kids. Yeah, no. Okay, here we go.
Last month, 500,000 Americans got new jobs as the U.S. unemployment rate fell to just 5.8%. Here in Canada, we lost 68,000 jobs.
In a month. In 1 month.
As our unemployment rate rose above 8%. Even if you compare our unemployment to the Americans using apples to apples methodology, our unemployment is 1.5 times higher, 1.5 percentage points higher than theirs. In fact, we have the second highest unemployment rate in the G7. Only socialist Italy, a country whose policies Trudeau is trying to emulate, has higher unemployment than Canada. But the UK, the US, Germany, Japan, and France all have lower unemployment than Canada. All of them have been working to reverse big government policies, slowly reducing the size of their deficits, opening up their economies to more competition, and leaving more money in the hands of those who earned it.
All of them also had COVID.
Those policies are allowing people to get back to work. Furthermore, those countries got themselves vaccines. They didn't waste 100 days getting duped by China. And therefore, their people are vaccinated and safely working, celebrating, and enjoying life. While Trudeau and his failures to get vaccines to Canadians has caused yet another closure of our economy. Now remember, Trudeau said that these monstrous deficits he ran would stimulate the economy. He ran the biggest deficit in the G20 by far as the share of GDP. And he claimed that this would stimulate growth and jobs. Well, exactly the opposite has happened. There are 500,000 more unemployed people today than when the pandemic began. And we keep losing jobs. And our unemployment is lower than our competitors. Only the Conservatives have a plan to secure jobs. It removes red tape, unleashes free enterprise, knocks down barriers to construction. It allows for the building of pipelines so we get world prices for our resources, allows mines, factories, and plants to open up and fill their facilities with paycheck generating jobs for everyday Canadians. That is what Canada needs now as we come out of COVID. We need to be the fastest growing economy with the lowest unemployment, giving the maximum opportunity to our people. We need to change our economy from a credit card economy to a paycheck economy.
Yes.
It is not enough to simply send people a $2,000 check. Nobody can live off $2,000 a month of CERB, and the government certainly can't pay it forever by putting it on the national credit card. The only solution is real, productive job, unsubsidized private sector jobs that offer people the chance to earn a paycheck.
Yes.
And Trudeau has denied people that opportunity. That is why we have the second worst unemployment. It is why Americans are going back to work while Canadians are taking their pink slips home.
Yep.
Think for a moment of those 68,000 families who lost their jobs last month. Think of the conversations they had with their children. Think of them up at 2 in the morning, agonizing over how they're going to make their mortgage payment.
Yeah.
And think of how bitter it must be for them to look south of the border and know that the exact opposite is happening in the US, where Americans are going safely back to work and leaving us behind.
Not only that, but like their kids, these people, they've lost their jobs, and then their kids are still doing online school. So they've got to, how am I going to keep the internet on for my kid to do school? How am I going to feed them at home? How am I going to keep the lights on? How am I going to provide them with a good summer now because I don't have a job? This is all stuff that is going on with these families right now that have lost their jobs. And it's really sad, and it's disgusting that the Liberal government just doesn't give a fuck. All they care about is looking good. And they can't even do that properly. So I think that's where the questions start. And that's where we're going to end the stream today. And I really do appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Thank you for watching me. And thank you for joining and interacting. Please come by Twitch tomorrow at 2 o'clock for Beat the Blind Girl. I've got some, I've got chat timers fixed. I've got some bits and rewards and stuff lined up now. I'm slowly getting the Twitch channel to be interactive. There may be some background commentary from the 7-year-old because he probably won't be going to my mom's tomorrow. So it'll be fun. It'll be commentary from him in the background. So come and watch that. And of course, Wednesdays in Canada on Wednesday with Functional. So I hope you guys come and watch, and thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye, my friends.